Hey, what's up? It's Lucas, and in today's video, I want to dive into 4 tips, 4 rules, 4 ways of being in a sales conversation that will help you make more sales as a coach. Now, these aren't manipulative techniques to just try to get someone to buy anything from you, because as a coach, that is not what you want. That's what's going to make your life a living hell. If you have a whole bunch of clients who your program's not a perfect fit for, and you have to meet with them once, twice, or 3 times a week and actually deal with their problems when it's not a right fit. And so you want to make sure it's a right fit. So this isn't manipulative type of selling. This is more, like I said, ways of being, just general rules that if you can follow, you'll have no problem making sales. You'll be showing up to your sales calls confident, and you won't have that anxiety or that kind of feel gross, feel dirty feeling on your sales. So if that interests you, stick around and let's get into it.
So I don't know when this whole get a job, 9 to 5, play it safe, think small, and hopefully someday retire with enough time to maybe chase my dreams became okay, but for people like you and me, it's not. I'm Lucas Rubix, and welcome to the coaching channel, where I continue my mission of setting human beings free.
Alrighty, so sales tip number 1. From the moment you meet someone, you're selling. This can go into everyday life, like you are selling 24/7. Selling family members on your dreams so they support you. Selling your kids so they don't run across the street or they don't smoke pot. You're selling the cop on not giving you a ticket when you get pulled over. You are selling people on liking you when you go to a party. You're selling people on listening to what you have to sell. You are always selling, and there's no shame in sales. Sales is life, and it's those who become great at influencing, at persuading, at getting a win-win situation from every transaction that win the game of life. And so the first thing we got to do is just understand that there's nothing dirty or wrong about sales, because we're all doing it all of the time. If you're a coach, you're always selling your clients on taking an action, on moving forward, on doing an exercise, on showing up to the call. You are always selling. You're always influencing. You're always using some persuasive techniques, whether you know it or not. If you're in a relationship, you are always selling. We're just unconscious of it most of the time, or we don't like to admit that, but there's nothing wrong with that. And so with that understanding, remember that from the moment you meet someone, you're selling. So how does this apply to your sales conversation as a coach? If you get into a conversation, the second you show up on the call, there's a first impression being made. Whether you know it or not, if you're fumbling, and I've had clients who I'm watching their calls, their recordings, and they're fumbling around, trying to get their mic set up, apologizing for this and that, and I'm like, it's not, just be hyper aware of the first impression and show up with a professional. I'm not saying in a suit, it totally depends what it is you do, but show up in a professional manner of controlling the call, of building a bit of a connection right off the bat, of being a human, but showing up and controlling the narrative, controlling the story. And that goes for every aspect of life. Just think about a job interview. How would you show up? Just think about the biggest deal of your life. How would you show up? How would you show up for your first date? It's the same thing with your clients. And so you want to show up with your best foot forward. Be ready, come early, because a lot of coaches have this distaste for selling. They sabotage themselves without knowing it. They show up on the call a minute late, the mic's not hooked up, it's all chaotic, the webcam's flickering, and they're apologizing for it, and you've already lost that sale, or at least now you have an uphill battle. The moment you meet someone, you're selling. Number 2, enthusiasm and mood. When I didn't know what I was doing with sales in my first business, I would show up to sales all stressed out, trying to follow a formula, and I had a coach back in the day. This is back in the fitness days, and they were trying to, I had a script, and it wasn't working. And I was showing up to the call stressed out, anxious. Finally, one day I said, F this, I'm doing this a different way. I showed up with gratitude. I'd spend 2 minutes looking at the prospect's profile and just, how can I really serve you? Understanding there's a human being out there that is in pain, and I have a moment and I have a chance to serve them. Let me show up. I'd show up with enthusiasm. I'd show up excited for the call instead of, oh my God, another sales call. And all of a sudden, my sales went from 20% closing to 70% to 80%, and I was no longer selling. I was showing up excited, enthusiastic, and I truly believe enthusiasm it's really an exchange of energy and emotions sell, but by showing up enthusiastic, excited for the potential for you and your client, you're already way further ahead than most people trying to use tactics to sell. Now, that may work in some industries, but in coaching, it's so different, and you got to understand as a human being in pain who is truly terrified of showing up to the call. It might be the first time they're doing it, and if you can show up enthusiastic, in a great mood, ready to serve, you're gonna win the game. Now, there's another part to this, is if you have 4 calls booked, I see this happen a lot, and you get 3 no's on those first 3 calls, it may happen. It just wasn't the right fit, wasn't the right time, they truly didn't have the money, or it just wasn't the right timing. It just didn't happen. Or you messed it up, that's fine, you messed up the call. Or you get 3 no-shows. Whatever happens, that 4th call is a full reset. That 4th call knows nothing about those first 3 calls, knows nothing about, genuinely probably doesn't really care about your day. They're in it for what's in it for me, which is number 3. But if you show up to that 4th call carrying the energy from the first 3 calls, you've already lost. You show up to the call like it's a brand new call. You show up to call like it's the first time you're having a call. You're excited, you're enthusiastic, and you're showing up as if they already said yes. You're gonna win your calls without using any tactics or crazy strategies. Fair? Number 3, what's in it for me? They are showing up to the call with one thing in mind. They don't care about your day. They don't care about your business. They don't care about your sales. They don't care about your team. They don't care if an employee quit. They don't care if you're just starting your business. They don't care if you're working a second job trying to make ends meet. They're showing up saying, what's in it for me? The quicker we can accept that humans are walking around with a lens as compassionate and as giving as we are, there's an element of what's in it for me during our day, and they're showing up with problems. The call is all about them. It's not about you. If you find yourself talking more than 20% of the time, you've already lost the game. You're talking too much. What's in it for me? How can I serve you? Let me hear you out. What are your big problems? What are you struggling with? Where would you like to be? How do you think we could bridge that gap? What would be the expectation of working with me? What would you love from me? Those are basically the questions I ask when I'm in a conversation, and then I just write a prescription. And I say, this is how we can help. Would you like it or not? Let's answer some questions. Let's tackle the objections, which are really just questions. What's going on for you? Because this looks like a really good fit. What's going on, and how can we help you level up and step into what you know you must be doing? Done. You'll win the game. And number 4, give people a reason to buy now. In the past, and way in the early days, you'd have like a webinar, and at the end of the webinar, if you sign up now, you'll get $1,000 off, but it's only a limited time for the next 7 days. And then someone would do the webinar again in 14 days, hey, for the next 7 days. And then a lot of people started transitioning into the sales conversation, saying, you know, well, normally my coaching program is $5,000, but for you, it's $4,000 because I have a limited one time or for the best clients. And I'm like, drop the BS. We all know that that's BS. Now, that's not to say there's legitimate ways of doing that. So I'll give you a few ideas. Giving people a reason to buy now doesn't always have to be a limited time. Doesn't always have to be a bonus you throw in, which you could. Doesn't always have to be some extra little perk that you throw in, which you could. And those work great. But what about giving them a reason to buy now with what's going on with their life? With where they could be in 6 months, 12 months if they started now versus where would they be if they started in 6 months or 12 months? What's it gonna cost you if you don't take action now? Basically, that's the question you're trying to answer here. What's it going to cost you if you don't take action now? And right now on a piece of paper, just let me know in the comments of what you come up with here, but what's it gonna cost your clients if they don't take action now? You'll come up with one idea, and then come up with a second, and then come up with a third, and now these all become reasons. You can have them in front of you, reasons to buy now. And if any of them are applicable during a conversation, you can mention them. It gives people a reason to buy now that's just beyond the tactics and strategies of a limited time, of a limited offer. Now, the other beautiful thing is if you're a coach and you're working one-on-one or even in group, your time is very limited. Time is the most precious resource, and it's limited. You only have a limited amount of time. And so that in itself creates scarcity because you only have limited spots. If you're just starting, that might feel a little bit dirty and not feel authentic, and so you have to choose what you want to do. But even when you're first starting, you have a limited amount of time. You got to allocate time for marketing, for sales, for billing. If you're wearing multiple hats, your time is extremely limited. And so that in and of itself, if you only work with 5 clients, that naturally, and you're working with 3, that naturally creates scarcity and a reason for them to buy now if it's a good fit. So you don't have to make it up or create these. Every time I hear that, I'm just like, it's garbage, and most people know it. And so think outside the box, and how can you give people a reason to buy now? So just to recap really quick, and let me know the biggest thing you got from this video. Number 1, the moment you meet someone, you are selling. There was nothing wrong with sales. Control the narrative, control the story, your first impression. Number 2, enthusiasm and mood. Show up enthusiastic. If you have that, 80% of the time you're gonna sell, even if you know what you're doing or not. People like to be around enthusiastic, happy people because they get energy from that. Express your excitement for the potential of working together in an authentic way, of course, and get excited for the client. Number 3, what's in it for me? It's all about them, not about you. And number 4, of course, give people a reason to buy now. Truly hope this served. If this video served you, like, subscribe, and let me know what you got from this video. If you want to dive in deeper on what it is we do, we've got the podcast and the coaches coaching channel on YouTube, podcast and the YouTube channel. Check that out. Make sure you consume, take notes, learn. You can learn more about those channels at lucasrubix.com. And if you're interested in working with us at some capacity, check out the Coaches University. It is a stay until you get paid program. It's not a course. It is a coaching program. We work with you. We have live calls. We have a monthly mastermind, massive membership area that takes you from 0 to wherever it is you want to be, no matter where you're starting from. And we do guarantee that you'll make $10,000 in sales. You do have to put in the effort, but as long as you're putting in the effort, we stay with you. We let you join the calls. We let you join the mastermind. We're revolutionizing and changing the way that this whole coaching game is done. And I'm sick and tired of seeing $15,000 coaching programs put out there that someone goes for 2 months, and they could have learned everything in a book, and now they're left and there's no support after that. We're changing that, so check out the Coaches University. That's at lucasrubix.com. And with that said, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.
So, I don't know when this whole get a job, 9 to 5, play it safe, think small, and hopefully someday retire with enough time to maybe chase my dreams became okay, but for people like you and me, it's not. I'm Lucas Rubix, and welcome to the coaching channel, where I continue my mission of setting human beings free.